seats, take your seats. I've something to say to the bride. My dear Constance, I don't know how to tell you this, but it would appear that your beloved George is nowhere to be found. Perhaps it's just a case of rattled nerves.
Oh, dear. Reverend Bloodmere and guests, please, do not lose your head. I'm sure there's no cause for alarm. I received a note telling me he had departed for our ceremony. If I know my George, we'll dig him up soon.
My dear Constance, you are such an enlightened spirit.
No need for compliments, Reverend. Ooh. I have dealt with errant husbands before, and there's no need to spoil my wedding day and all of your dinners over this. Please, continue with your meals. It would be such a shame for all of this lovely food to go cold.
Yes, a splendid idea. Let's start the celebration, please. Music. It does soothe a restless soul. My dearly beloved, do enjoy the rest of your dinner. The ceremony will continue once we've located the groom.
To guide us into our ethereal realm, we first need a speaker who will take the helm.
Foolish mortals, please welcome your ghost moderator, Timothy O'Day.
Ghouls and ghost riders, quivering quills, welcome the scribe who penned Mansionly Chill.
The first to materialize is a grave soul indeed, Jason Sorrell.
Spirits and seances, ghostly relations, our medium's daughter now hosts celebrations.
This lovely lady has been dying to meet you, Kim Irvine.
Thundering railroads, mountains that splash, bring forth the soul who gives new worlds panache.
We wouldn't have a ghost of a chance discussing anything without him. Fear not, Tony Baxter.
Shroudings and drapings, all daftly disguised, and thanks to her talents we're materialized.
Her entire body of work is quite haunting. Alice Davis.
Lyrics and legends, grim grinning souls, embody the spirits of the one we extol.
There's no turning back now. Ex Atencio is here.
So who was here for the panel discussion earlier this afternoon? Did you like it? Yeah. Because we're going to do the exact same thing all over again. Yay! Somebody was at the bar.
In the room!
Because the artist didn't get to hear it, so we're going to do it all over again. So now I have to ask, how many of you folks were here 10 years ago when we did the 30th anniversary? No, it's time to go home, for crying out loud. Wow. Well, I know you had a good time at the last panel, the seance, if you will. But now, since we have everyone together, right? I thought we'd take a more populist look at the Haunted Mansion. And I wanted to start off by asking our panel, when the mansion opened in 1969, there were a lot of rumors going around about the mansion. How many were here in 1969 when the mansion opened?
I was undergoing multiple cell division when the original Haunted Mansion opened.
That hasn't stopped, has it?
Hey, I'm the only one up here with a booster seat.
That's right.
And Jason Sorrell as the Beaver.
So when the mansion opened, there were a lot of budding urban myths about the mansion. So I'm wondering if any of you can shed some light on the fact that, there were stories about, you guys help me out here. There was a story about...
The story about the person that had died in there. Now, I heard it was a woman that had a heart attack. It was so disastrously scary that the ride was closed, taken down, and they rethought the whole show. But since I worked here, I knew that the backside had nothing in it, so there was really nothing there.
You know, before we start, too, I forgot to ask, is anybody here from Luxembourg?
So then Walt says, get this, Mark, no one gives a crap about Luxembourg, huh?
Why am I here? So for you
address your letters
Luxembourg,
to Robert Iger, 500 South Business.
You people, where are the people from Luxembourg? They need a hug, those people, after that panel discussion. Yeah, there were those rumors about the mansion being so terrifying they had to tone it down. And so Tony, you were here when it opened. Were there really like mob scenes to get in the mansion and things like that?
Well, I already told my story about getting to ride it for 4 hours before. You know, this was like a week before, and we got to see the Hatbox Ghost and all that. But the week that it opened, we topped out the highest attendance ever at Disneyland. It was 89,000 people came that Saturday, the first Saturday the Haunted Mansion opened. And I think that's a record to this day, all in the park in one day. And what was...
without Fast Pass.
Right, without Fast Pass. And the thing that was, I think why it happened is that house had sat there for like 6 years with this sign, 999 ghosts are being recruited to come to this house. So the ritual was, every time you came to the park, you would run over to that thing, read the sign again, look through the bars, and wonder how much longer it was going to be. And then if you were a nut about Disneyland like I was, you'd ride the train and look down through the cracks as you went through that tunnel to see if they built anything down there yet.
Listen to those guilty laughs out there in the audience.
Some of you were actually here then in 1969, before 1969.
You know, and we were talking earlier about, at dinner, we were talking about the fact that when you go through the mansion, when it's quiet, Kim, you've worked on the mansion numerous times. What's it like to go through the mansion when you can actually hear things creaking?
I won't go into the mansion by myself. I never have and I never will. Every time we've had to do a rehab in there, I always make sure, you have to go over there and do a sound check, right? Right? Okay, let's go together. It is very creepy. There's lots of sounds in there.
And Jason, you've been in the mansion. You've actually been at the top. Imagine Jason being at the top of the mansion.
Yeah, when I was doing research for the book, the cast members over there took me through the entire thing, and then they said, oh, and if you want to go through here, you can actually climb up into the cupola, and people go up there with Sharpies and sign their name and stuff like that. But you literally have to climb. I mean, it was like going through a jungle gym, and I'm sweaty by the time I get up there and everything. But
I didn't even know that part.
I'll tell you one of the things that always bugs me, and this is true of all the rides that have automated figures in it, occasionally they still have a little bit of power in them, and so they'll, you know, like that, and that is really frightening when you're standing out there.
How's that go again?
And
hi, Alice. Hi there. So now tell us, what was it like to be living with Mark when he was working on the mansion? Did he ever bring work home?
Very seldom did he ever bring work home.
And what was it like? Did he talk to you about working on the mansion?
Yes. He said that he had a talk with Walt in regards to how he wanted the outside of the house done. And Walt said, no, Mark said, do you want it like Charles Adams?
Scary.
Scary in that. And Walt said, no. He said, I want the lawn beautifully manicured, I want beautiful flowers, I want the house well painted and well cared for, so that people would know that we took care of things in the park. That it was a clean, good park for families to come and have a good time. And he said also, he said, I want them to know that the haunted house is not scary, to scare the hell out of everybody. He said, I want it to be funny.
She said heck out of people.
I beg your pardon.
By the time this panel is open, that might happen.
Once again, address your letters to Robert Iger at South Buena Vista Street.
Listen, when you get to be 80, you can say anything you will.
Yeah, you just got served.
Yeah. It's not the first time. No, what Alice said backstage was, when you're 80, you can say any damn thing you please. That's what she said.
I stand corrected that
Thank you
time.
for the heck of it.
But
Where were we?
We were talking about the haunted
Thank
house.
you, thank you.
And Walt said it's to be a place that's to have fun in. You have fun in haunted houses. And it's supposed to bring great fun to you. And he said, you can put all the spider webs or whatever else you want inside. He said, I don't care about that. But he said the outside has to be pristine, clean at all times.
Now, did Mark have any belief in the supernatural? I mean, because he did such a fine job on the mansion. I mean, did you have any inclinations towards that?
No, he didn't. He just wanted to do fun. And he figured that whatever happened to you is something that you helped yourself get. If you're a nasty, you'd get nasty things back. If you were good, you'd get good things back.
Something to think about, huh, Tim?
Yeah.
Right. And he loved to have people laugh and have a good time. And that's what he hoped would happen in the haunted house.
Now, X.
What?
We're over here, X. Now, X, you wrote a hit song that never appeared on the radio, was rarely on TV, but didn't he write a hit song? Now, you had just come off of writing a hit song for Pirates of the Caribbean, which everybody knows, right? Tell us, how did the song for the Haunted Mansion come about?
Well, as Alice just said, Walt wanted it to be friendly, kid-friendly. And that's, I figured out the best way to do it is to say it in song. Grim, gritty ghosts come out to socialize. They close your eyes and don't try to hide. Or a silly spook may sit by your side, shrouded in a black disguise. They pretend to terrorize. Grim, gritty ghosts come out to socialize. So the theme of the song then was, in each case, is to bring up the fact that these guys are just real fun-loving people. There were our relatives had been waiting for hundreds of years, to be on stage, and so we finally got the thing opened, and there they were.
Now, did you actually sit in the recording sessions?
Oh yeah, always did that.
Tell us a little bit about those recording sessions. Wasn't that the Mellow Men and Thurles Ravenscroft?
Thurles Ravenscroft. Yeah, I had 4 of them down in the graveyard there, and these keen, deep voices. And Ravenscroft particularly had a deep voice, but they were real fun to work with. And Madame Leota, we had her recorded, and we had a brace put on her face so that she wouldn't be praising the song. And so we said that each, as we recorded the songs through there, it was, and the same way with the Mellow Men, we had them in braces so they wouldn't sing this way. They'd put one position, and that was it, because they were being photographed. But people that through the ride would say, "Well, why did it take so long?" And I said, "We just were looking for ghosts, you know." And really, I mean, yeah, of course. So that was the theme of the show, is that we were looking for ghosts all over the world. And you might have some of your family there.
Now, Kim, X just referenced the whole idea of being in the brace. Now, you have a little experience with that, don't you?
I do. When I did the Madame Leota for the Haunted Holiday, I too went through the very same process that Mom described when she did it, which was so fun because, you know, she would come home and tell me about it after work. And we did the whole hold your head in the brace. Actually, she said you tied her hair to the chair, X.
Boy, did they know how to have fun at WDI, didn't they? Anything like that happen to you?
Well, John just put my head in a brace, so it was a little less painful. But definitely, you could not move. You had to do all of the, you know, facial expressions to say the incantation rather than being able to move your head or hands. It's hard to do if you try it.
Can you do a little?
Creepies and crawlies, toads in a pond.
That's enough. Now, Jason, we were talking earlier. Jason talked about, you know, I wanted to talk about The Haunting. Guess I can't do that now. So, but we were talking backstage about another film that was a little bit of an influence, which was, I know you guys love this movie. It's a classic film, classic comedy, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken.
Yeah, actually, the Ghost and Mr. Chicken was one of the films that they looked at during the course of development for the original Haunted Mansion, again, especially because they wanted it to be scary and funny. And although I don't dare bring up this subject again, that was also a major influence on the Haunted Mansion film. During the... Again, address your letters to Robert Iger. I'm going to get like an angry phone call from Don Hahn any minute now.
You know they're bringing that out in 3D.
The Haunted Mansion.
You believe what
it
you want.
It gets funnier when Eddie's in 3D, believe it or not. No, but Ghost and Mr. Chicken was one of the influences on both the original attraction and then also the film. And I mean, to that point, the reason Eddie Murphy got involved was because he had been looking for like a classic old dark house comedy, you know, like Abbott and Costello and Bob Hope had made. So he very much wanted to do something in that genre. So that was kind of an influential film for not only the attraction but the movie as well.
And Tony,
which I loved.
You loved The Ghost of Mr. Chicken?
No. The other one, The Haunted Mansion.
Are you done yet?
I'll be here all night. Anytime you need a lifeline, Tim, you just look down at me, baby.
So, Tony, we were talking backstage about how both the mansion in Florida and California were built almost simultaneously.
Yeah, when I first came up there on a tour, I was kind of working here and, you know, on the various rides, and I was invited up there. And out back, they had a portion of the Haunted Mansion actually running at Imagineering. So that was my first indoctrination to being an Imagineer. And what I realized is this one opened in 1969, and they were well underway with the Magic Kingdom, which opened in 71. So obviously it was a lot cheaper to just build the two of them together. And people, I was down there, here I am dating myself, and I was in Florida during the installation. And what was great is the Haunted Mansion was finished about 7 months before the park opened in October, all during that first hot summer. Guess where everybody went during the summer? You know, if you've been in Florida in August, believe me, the Haunted Mansion was the place to be. It was finished, it was air conditioned, and all the effects and everything were operating from April on. So it was kind of neat.
And Kim, you worked on the Florida project. Did you work at all in the mansion?
I did not. My mom did. She was relocated down to Florida, actually, to help start the first figure finishing group down there. And actually, my favorite story of hers about being Madame Leota, she was kind of surprised that out of her whole career at WED, she would be so famous for being Madame Leota. And she said one day she was walking through the park down there, and a young attractions host ran up to her and she goes, "You are her, you're her, aren't you? My friends tell me you are Madame Leota." And Mom was flattered, and she said, "Well, yes, that is me." And she said, "Well, I just have to ask you one question. Don't you get tired of sitting under the table with your head in that ball?"
It's what the humidity does to you in Florida. Wow. Where do you go from there? So Alice, getting back to Mark, what do you think Mark's favorite aspect of the mansion was? I mean, he touched so many elements of the Haunted Mansion. Do you think he had a favorite section?
I think that he had the whole thing. I think it was when at the graveyard where the lady was having the gentleman drink champagne out of her slipper and have the different periods of history enjoying a tea party with each other and having a good time.
And did Mark, I mean, Mark liked the silly aspect of the Haunted Mansion. And I know one of his proudest achievements was the stretching room, the stretching portraits.
Yes, he enjoyed those, but Walt enjoyed them the most. In fact, one day he brought Lily Pons in, and he had the girl that was the
tour guide
of the year. She came, and Walt had these 4 pictures.
Uh-huh.
And he himself would pull it down and giggle the whole time he was telling her, and then she started giggling with him. And Mark said it was the most fun thing he had with the haunted house for a long time, was to see the two of them giggling together on these stretching pictures.
And X, I mean, this song of yours has gone on now for 40 years. When you wrote that song, when you wrote this little ditty in your office at WED, did you ever think it would be around 40 years later?
I didn't think I'd be around 40 years. But I told him I just had my 90th birthday.
You still get a kick going through the Haunted Mansion?
Sure, I got an invitation a while ago about going over there to see it tonight. And I said, "Oh, I've been there before." But I'll go see it again. See if they slip Johnny Depp in it or something.
He's going to love that Eddie Murphy figure.
Those letters go to Bob Iger.
You know, Jennifer Tilly asked me when I interviewed her for the book, I don't know who told her this, but I did a phone interview with her, and when it was about over, she goes, "Yeah, you know, they told me that if the movie's a big hit, they're going to put my face and voice in the seance scene." And I went, and I knew that was not true, so I just went, "Really? Who told you that?"
Imagine that.
She goes, "Dick Cook." And unless his name was Marty Sklar, I wouldn't count on it.
Now, Jason, your book has just been revised. Tell us a little bit about your book.
Well, it was interesting because like 2 years after the book came out, it was already out of date. because of all of the enhancements that have been done at the mansion, first at Disneyland and then more recently at Walt Disney World. And with each subsequent enhancement, we knew that the book was just getting more and more inaccurate, basically. So this past year, we were finally able to revise it. I think the Walt Disney World enhancement kind of put it over the top. So we were able to cover all of the new recent additions to the mansion, and I was able to correct some mistakes that we had made the first time around. The misspellings, the grammar problems, all these things with my 6th grade reading level that we were able to fix. And then actually there was a period of time in the early to mid 60s when Mark Davis did a lot of his own developmental work on the attraction that got kind of short shrift the first time around, because the thing about the mansion book was that we got a green light at the end of October and they needed the manuscript in January in order to make the release date for the film. So I didn't have a ton of time to do all the research that I would do on subsequent books like Pirates and Mountains. So this was really a great opportunity to get to go back and kind of flesh it out and get it to the point where I think Pirates...
And Jason, is there the same amount of material on the film now?
And actually, that's where we made up the pages. We took a little bit away from the movie, which I know will crush all of you out there in the audience. Impassioned fans that you are.
500 South Point of Vista Street.
Bob Iger.
Tony, you grew up with the mansion here at Disneyland, and you oversaw the mansion in Paris. And this mansion here being so beloved, how did you approach doing the mansion in Paris and decide how to approach, because it's in Frontierland in Paris, it's not New Orleans. And
well, the first thing, and again, we mentioned this before, funny, scary doesn't work in Europe. They don't get that. They like scary and they like funny. We're talking about, it's interesting how world cultures are, because when we went over to Japan, we found a ride there that looked like Peter Pan on the outside, but there were people on meat hooks on the inside. So they're very different things. Père Lachaise, the cemetery in France, is very, very grisly for an afterlife place. So we tended to go a little bit more scary in that and cut back on the comedy, just because that was what was going on there. And so it has a very different flavor. We have a lot of the same things, but they're just sort of, framed up in a different way in a Western atmosphere. And it's interesting. I think if you're, Eurocentric, you prefer that, but if you're American, you prefer this. And then we were bringing John Lasseter over there to look at it. And while he was walking around, the hostess said, "We really love our version. This is, to us, the best one, so we shouldn't change it." So John was kind of very giving on that part and said, let's keep it this way. If they like it this way, then that's the way it should be. And it is unique, so if you haven't been there, it's different.
And Vincent Price, the great horror film actor.
You're giving all the lines I did in the last show.
But
we all like Vincent Price. Let's talk about him.
But he didn't last as the ghost host.
No, because oddly enough, they wanted it delivered in French. Okay, and we suddenly realized that over about 2/3 of the audience was going to be multilingual. Italians, Germans, whatever. So we were befuddled by that. We thought we'd better go to a show that doesn't depend on the narration. That's why there isn't a Jungle Cruise over there, because it was a total scripted show, and so we had to reduce that. But at the end of the elevator fall, when the elevator drops, you'll still hear that ghoulish laugh there. That is Vincent Price, the only place we have him in the entire park, but we managed to keep that there.
And Kim, like your mother, are you recognized here at Disneyland on occasion, especially around Halloween, as Madame Leota?
Occasionally. Not as much as she did, but occasionally, yes.
And you're just Madame Leota in the seance room. You're not Little Leota?
No, Little Leota is Little Leota.
Leota. And having grown up at the mansion, through your family and everything, what do you think makes the mansion such a perennial hit? Either the Halloween version or the classic version?
I think it's exactly what Alice said that Walt told Mark. It's the fact that kids can go through there. It's not so scary that it'll give you nightmares. It's fun scary. And people love that thrill of fun scary.
Now, we're going to have to wrap this up in a few minutes, but I wanted to see if anybody had any parting thoughts on the Haunted Mansion before we depart for Disneyland. So I'm going to take my chances and ask Jason. Do you have any closing thoughts?
Actually, it's echoing something I said earlier, but in addition to being fortunate enough to write the book on the Haunted Mansion, between working on the enhancement at Walt Disney World, and I also wrote the copy for the spell book that's both there and here at Disneyland, and Kim's mom's tombstone that we have down in Florida. I can't describe what it's like all you guys. I mean, I'm basically you sitting up here. So the feeling of being a fan who actually got to contribute something that has meant so much to me personally for literally most all of my life is just, it's indescribable. So it's really just been an honor to be up here with everybody and to be able to talk about it, because I can't describe what that feeling is like.
Tony, any closing thoughts?
Yeah, you know, one of the daunting things is we always have to think not just about the past and the wonderful thing we've inherited, but what about the future? And what excites me in the last 5 years, the technologies that are becoming available, the ways to tell stories, the things that weren't even conceivable back, you know, when the Haunted Mansion was created, allow us to do things in amazing new ways. And so when I look forward to say, I hope, like X, that I will be here in 40 years. If they pull me back and we're talking about the things that we were able to put in there during the next quarter of a century, I think you're all going to be really blown away.
Kim, any parting thoughts?
Well, I think it's so wonderful and such a tribute to the original Imagineers that how many fans Haunted Mansion has. It just always floors me when we have these events, or you know, when I see the lines in front of that attraction still after all these years, just how true it holds.
And Alice, how do you feel when you experience the Haunted Mansion? What comes over you thinking of Mark's contributions?
Well, I have mixed emotions, because some of the gags that he did that I thought were very funny have either been overloaded or removed, and I don't know which is the worst. I always thought that having the 3 tombstones singing was fine, but when they have a whole chorus in there, it's not funny anymore. It's like watching a chorus. I don't think Mark would have liked it, but that's Mark's taste and my taste, so I can't put a kibosh on it.
But a lot of Mark's stuff is still in the mansion, with like the stretching portraits and things like that.
Yes, but they're not his. They're somebody else's. And the color is not as nice as what Mark's or Mary Blair's would be to the eye. But, you know, this is the thing. I'm 80 years old, and we had our way of doing things. We were the Turks, the young Turks at one time. And the one thing that we all have to expect is change. And I say if the young ones come in and do a good job and make the change in that, I have no right to criticize what they've done, because I had my chance and now it's their chance. Mm-hmm. So I have to need to keep my mouth shut.
And X, how do you feel when you hear your song played and see people, millions of people a year enjoying the Haunted Mansion? What kind of feelings do you get?
Well, it's a sense of pride of having contributed that to the great Disney tradition. And they say, how do you come up with these words and lyrics and stuff like this? I don't know, just they came to me, and I feel very blessed that I did participate in something that lasted 40 years, and the pirate even more so. And what to look forward to generations to come who will, as Alice says, Tony say about new technologies, it'll keep these shows going forever. And it's a sense of pride of having contributed to this.
Well, as Alice said, we all kind of stand on the shoulders of people who have come before us, and I think I would be remiss if we didn't take a little bow for our friends who are no longer with us, who were with us 10 years ago. So folks like John Hench and Sam McKim and Mark Davis and all the other folks
and
that joined
Coates,
us. And
who
Claude
was
Coates.
my mentor on that.
If we took a little bow for them and thank them.
And Harriet Burns,
I think
we
we
lost
should
earlier this
thank
year.
them for all of the beauty and fun and inventiveness that they had built for us to enjoy. And I'm looking forward to the new group adding more to it and keeping the magic. That's the important part of keeping the magic. And I would like to...
Sorry to interrupt, but it seems that once again, your time with us has expired.
Whoops.
He's always spoiling our fun. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And once again, remember those letters? Bob Iger, Jason Sorrell, 500 South Buena Vista Street, right? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you at Disneyland.
Table. It's time to respond. Send us a message from somewhere beyond. Goblins and ghoulies from last Halloween, awaken the spirit with your tambourine. Creepies and crawlies, toads in a pond, let there be music from regions beyond. Wizards and witches, wherever you dwell, give us a hint by ringing a bell. Our dearly departed groom has been found, gone from this world, but not yet underground. And now his own gloomsmen bring forth his remains. His heart is now silent, cold blood in his veins. The bloodthirsty bride is the one who holds blame. Her fifth murdered husband, unfortunate shame. But her dearly departed shall have the last say. Revenge is too sweet to hide her away.
Darling Constance, in life I was taught to follow the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have done unto you. Well, you have done me in, dear. Constance, I shall keep you close to me always. Till death do us part, you're mine forevermore.
My last husband appears to be my last. Darling together before everyone. I do take thee as my wedded husband.
In sickness and in health.
For richer and richer.
In life
and in death. My heart shall beat for none but you.
As the good book says, a man must leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife.
Thank you, my love.
May I present the newly dead George and Constance. You may now kiss the corpse.
Join us over at the mansion. It's time for our cake cutting. It seems this little wedding token from my beloved shall come in handy once more. Come, Constance, before the filling rots.
Mind if we hitch a ride?
Like to join in our jamboree.
There's a simple rule that's compulsory.
Mortals pay a token fee. Rest in peace, the haunting's free. So hurry back, we would like your company.
Quake. Spooks come out for a swinging wake.
Happy haunts materialize
And begin to vocalize.
Grinning ghosts come out to socialize.
Rise and don't try to hide.
Or a silly spook may sit by your side.
Shrouded in a damp disguise.
They pretend to terrorize.
Grinning ghosts come out to socialize.